In 1965, Mary Reese, a mother of 3 children with cystic fibrosis, was trying to raise money for research for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. In 1955, just 10 years earlier, the CF Foundation was trying to increase the life expectancy of children. But in 55, doctors were telling parents, basically, if your child has CF, don't anticipate that they'll go to elementary school. One day while Mary was making phone calls, her 4-year-old son, Richard, interrupted her and said, "Mommy, I know who you work for. You work for 65 Roses." That little twist of cystic fibrosis to 65 Roses changed the face of CF and the CF Foundation forever. How many of you remember the first time you heard the word cystic fibrosis? It was probably as comparable as hearing 65 Roses. You had no idea what it meant. Well, I never will forget the day I heard 65 Roses. I was 21, a student attending school away from home. It was a cold February night. So I had sought refuge in one of the college campus's buildings, and in a deserted hallway, I was trying to gain the courage to kiss this cute little feisty girl from my hometown. In my nervousness, I said, "Sherry, do you think you would ever marry a guy like me?" Her response was not what I expected. "Oh, Rheid, you don't want to marry me. I have CF. I mean, that means cystic fibrosis." You could have said 65 Roses and I wouldn't have known the difference. Well, I can tell you that I did get that kiss that night, but on the way home to my dorm, I stopped by the library and I did some research. It didn't take me long to find every article published about CF because there wasn't very much known and not much written. But that night, my life changed because I went home and on my knees I asked God, how long would Sherry live? I don't know about you, but that night I had a bolt of energy just go through my whole body. You know that experience where you have tinglies all over? In that moment I knew that it didn't matter how long she'd live. Later that year, after Sherry and I were married, the life expectancy of someone with CF was 14. Since that time, I've come to know a lot of people with CF, and I've experienced many good things and many challenging things. But one thing that I've learned is that CFers, they're a unique group. Sorry, CFers is a slang for those that have CF. They use it in the CF community, but you have to be careful how you say it, because sometimes people who don't know the community think you might be talking about heifers or, well, other things, maybe worse. But CFers, they are a unique bunch. They come in all sizes and shapes, but mostly thin. Thinner and scary thin. They have this unique cough that helps you find them when you're lost in supermarkets. But they also have a really strange sense of humor. Maybe that's what they use to cope with, because they'll make light of all sorts of things. For example, one of our friends, a cute little gal, a senior in high school, part of our CF support group, showed up smelling like she just got rid of a Marlboro cigarette. We were all wondering what in the heck was going on, And to our surprise, she announced that she decided to take up smoking. Are you kidding? You have CF. What are you thinking, girl? At least that's what I was thinking. And then she promptly said, the sooner I trash these stupid lungs, the sooner I can get new ones. You know, that's a weird sense of humor. But CFers, they want to appear normal. They want to blend in. They don't want their disease to define them. And that's kind of hard. But parents, they don't want their kids to feel like they have a disability either. So they encourage them to join band and play the clarinet or the trumpet and the trombone. Or CFers, they decide they want to be a part of a team, so they join a volleyball team or play golf or swim team. They also try to be normal by getting jobs at fast food restaurants, and they usually get fired because they're coughing all over the food all the time. So that doesn't work out. But they try so hard. They're determined to be normal, to live a normal and long life. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes that normalcy and trying to be normal just creates some humorous experiences and makes them stand out. For example, I wish you could have met Don Wood. He's the oldest guy I have personally known who has had cystic fibrosis. At the age of 42, he was almost completely bald, about 5'5", and was wearing oxygen cannula and an oxygen tank being pulled around with him. But he would tell you the most horrific stories about his medical mishaps. I can tell you he had more than just a few. But I'll never forget the day I was talking to him about his new project. He'd created a zip line in the backyard for his boys. And I noticed Don didn't have any eyebrows. I thought, is this a new side effect of some medication that he's taken, or is it something to do with the longevity of a CF person? So I asked him, I said, Don, what happened to your eyebrows? Was it CF related? He said, no, it was just an oxygen incident. An incident, right. Now, I don't know about you, but my vision of a person with CF is not someone wielding a welding torch. And there are reasons that they place signs up that say no open flames around oxygen. But that day, Don was welding with his oxygen cannula in his nose. And there was a flashback fire that burned every hair up his nose and singed his eyebrows completely off his face. CF. It changes you, but it doesn't define you. They're determined to be normal. I think it's their way of coping. They want to blend in. And secretly, they hope that a cure is found in their lifetime. But they know that it's a hard problem to solve. And so they courageously fight on. That, I think, is why we are so endeared to them. I have learned over the years that there is something about CF that creates a natural bond, a loving relationship between CFers and caregivers and their families. It creates this CF community. Many of you are here tonight because you are a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a friend, a neighbor, a sibling, or a child of someone who you love that has CF. You are part of that family. 8 years ago, Billy Colson. She heard about CF when she found out her granddaughter, Mahala, was born with cystic fibrosis. I'm sure there was a time when Billy felt hopeless and questioned how she could possibly do anything that would make a difference in the CF life of her granddaughter. I know I have felt that way. Perhaps some of you have felt helpless towards the disease. Tonight, we celebrate the 8th annual 65 Roses for Cystic Fibrosis Gallery event because Billy did something. Tonight, I want to also recognize someone else. Mary Knudsen. Thank you, Mary, for everything you did. You see, it was Mary who delivered 65 mini canvases to Billy and suggested she paint roses for cystic fibrosis. And that's what started this event. Thank you, Mary. And thank you, Billy, for acting upon it. I was introduced to this event just last year when a friend of mine sent me a Facebook post of a painting that she was donating in memory of my wife. You see, Sherry passed away in 2015. She was 50 years old. That 4-year-old boy who coined the phrase 65 Roses, Richard Weiss, in 2015 died at the age of 52. Why Richard and Sherry lived so long is because of the dedication of doctors, nurses, researchers, caregivers, and especially the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. This event last year donated $15,000 to the CF Foundation, and over the course of the last 7 years has donated over $100,000 to them as well. To me, that's a pretty significant contribution to the CF community. So thank you, Billy. Before I conclude, I would like to share with you another story of a member of our CF family. In 1992, Erin Torrio was born with CF. Her parents decided they didn't want her to feel like she had a disability, so they encouraged her to do all those things that CF kids do. She played golf, she joined teams, she excelled in school. Last year, Erin started school at CU. Most of her friends and the faculty didn't even know that she had cystic fibrosis. But just before Christmas, Erin went into the hospital for a clean-out. Another one of those CF community terms. Unfortunately, the drugs weren't effective, and the infection soon spread and overtook her. She died just before Christmas. With her permission, from her parents, I'd like to share with you some of her artwork. This is a piece that she drew after she had had a hemoptysis of her right lung. That's a bleeding internal in her lung. This one she created just weeks before she passed away. Erin was 25, and her death is a reminder to us that way too many in our CF family leave us way too soon. Tonight, look around this gallery. Look at these wonderful flowers, and let them remind you that there is still a need to find a cure. And you, just like Billy, no matter how small, can make a contribution to the CF Foundation. Thank you very much.